Hi everyone, I'm Firehawk, and it has been 10 years since the COD Zombies map Zetsubou No Shima was released. Man, I'm old. I remember when the map first came out, I was 16 at the time, and when it first launched, it had a very mixed reception, but I was not one of the people who hated it. I was actually one of the few people who seemed to love the map, especially once I learned more and more about it. In fact, there's a comment I made on one of the Smith Plays videos on ZNS, arguing against all his complaints about it. Nowadays, the map seems to have gotten some popularity, which is satisfying because I was right the entire time. Uh, and it's fun seeing it's just fun seeing a lot of people change their minds 10 years later. But I was always here. I was always a fan of the map. Zetsubou no Shima is probably my overall favorite COD Zombies map of all time. And since it's its 10-year anniversary, I want to talk about why. But before I do, I just want to say rest in peace Tom Kane, the original voice actor for Takio. I'm writing this only a day or two after he died. He was a legend and he will be missed. This video will, I guess, kind of serve as my tribute to him, considering this is the map where Takio is the main character for it. I can't say I can't say I'm truly religious, but I do hope there is an afterlife, and well, I hope Tom Kane is up there and getting some well-deserved rest. Now, I do want to briefly talk about what parts of the popular opinions on Zetsubou no Shima that I do agree on, but mostly because I don't have that much to say about them because everyone who knows about Zetsubou pretty much already knows these things. First is the aesthetics and atmosphere. Zetsubou has an incredible atmosphere and environment. The jungle island with the Division 9 laboratories and the few but important ancient ruins make a great aesthetic to the map. Not only that, but how dark the map is and how creepy it can be are both really cool too. I don't want to outright call it scary, but the map is still pretty unnerving. The thing is that you all already know that. Even people who don't like Zetsubou no Shima uh, agree that the map looks cool as hell and can be pretty creepy at times. And I don't really need to tell you all about that because it's widely known how good those parts of it are. The one thing I will say, the one thing that I will mention is the parts of the map where if you press the use button on them, they like play a creepy sound. My personal favorite is this one, the two doors down by the green water area. Sounds like Jeff the Killer got to that guy. On the other hand, one of the things I do agree is kind of bad about the map is the special enemy spam. Before Black Ops 7, one of the big complaints about modern zombies was the special enemy spam. I never played Black Ops 6, but even I know about the Mangler spam. That's how bad it was. And unfortunately, when you look back on it, this is the map where that special enemy spam started. The special enemies themselves are really cool. It's just their spawn rates being too high that's the problem. I honestly think that this could have been less annoying if the wonder weapon was given like more ammo once it was upgraded, but that's another topic. But again, y'all already know that. The very frequent spawn rates of Zetsubou's special enemies is annoying, even for me who loves the map. I don't really have anything else to say about that or the map's aesthetics because those things are already widely known by the COD Zombies community and aren't even the main things that influence my opinions on the map. See, the reasons I love Zetsubou no Shima so much are the very things that get criticized about the map the most. Those two things are the map setup and the Easter egg. The map setup is criticized for being too long and complicated, whereas the Easter egg is criticized for being too short and simple. But those are actually what make me like the map so much. First off is the setup. Now, I want to give some guidelines as to what I personally consider the setup of a map to be. I define the setup as turning on power, opening Pack-a-Punch, getting the Wonder Weapon, special weapon for Black Ops 3, any buildables that are required for the map, and anything else that isn't kind of too out of the way to get. I will say that this does mean I don't consider the spider bait to be part of the setup, since I kind of find it just a bit too esoteric to get. And yeah, the parts of the setup that people don't like the most are turning on power, because this map probably has the most complicated setup for just power. For a reminder, you have to put water in the two labs, then open the bunker before the water runs out in both of them, then go to the power room, and instead of just being able to turn on the power like normal, you have to swim down into this little area, cut the webs blocking one of the fans, do a little holdout for like a minute, and then you can finally turn on power. Opening Pack-a-Punch is also something that's a bit more complicated. I mean, it's not as complicated as like Dead of the Night's Pack-a-Punch quest, but unlike some maps where you do the same thing 3 times, each Pack-a-Punch piece is like each way you get the Pack-a-Punch piece is different. First one is gotten when you finish the underwater holdout for power. The second one is gotten by swimming in the flooded caves, which is probably the easiest part. And then the final part is gotten by knifing all the cocoon zombies in the room with all the spider webs. Not only that, but there are quite a lot of doors, and some of them are quite expensive, making it harder to get to each area you need to go, which in turn makes the setup process much longer. I don't really have anything else to say about the doors. It's pretty simple. There's just a lot of doors. Hey guys, it's me, Firehawk, in editing. I realized that I forgot to, in the script, I forgot to write down how many and talk about how many parts there are in this map because there are a lot of parts. And, just like with the rest of the setup, I like how many parts there are. I like that there are a lot of parts. I think for me, it just feels like it really makes you feel like a scavenger. I'm doing this part unscripted right now, but it really makes you feel like a scavenger. And also, I like the another thing I like about how many parts there are is it gives depth without making it too complicated. Because if I think to something like like Dead of the Night again, um, it's just opening Pack-a-Punch is just so weird because it's just very vague. And I think Dead of the Night is a good map. I like it as well. Yeah, big surprise. I like the weird maps. Um, but but with Zetsubou, it's much easier to like have a lot of parts because, like I said, it makes you feel like a scavenger. But also, for me, remembering part locations is much easier than remembering and like other things. And I know some people think that like, oh, that's so many locations that you have to remember for each part. My For me, I feel like it's kind of the opposite because, and here's my tip for this, is you don't really need to remember each specific location, at least in these older zombie games. You just need to remember which area the part spawns in. So, for example, the wires for the gas mask, those will always spawn in the plane trap area. So even if you don't remember which specific location it spawns in, um, you can still just know that, oh, I go in that area, and then I find that piece for the gas mask. I mean, I remember each location because I have played this map a million times, but you don't have to, and that's just I don't know. I just think the fact that there's a lot of parts is pretty cool because it gives depth without making it too confusing and complicated, and I like that. So yeah. The thing that I like about the power and Pack-a-Punch being complicated and the amount of doors there is how it makes you play. I remember playing Kino der Toten for the first time and how hard it was to get through the map. Every time me and my little brother, which we were definitely way too young to be playing this, but each time me and my little brother opened up a new area, it felt very important. And it just felt like there was like, oh, there's so much more space now. Getting to round 20 felt like a huge achievement. Zetsubou no Shima having a lot of doors, a complicated way to turn on power, and open up Pack-a-Punch, to me, make the map play the same way that I played zombies when I was younger. I've gotten so good at zombies over my like 14 years of playing COD Zombies that Zetsubou is one of the only maps that challenges me um, in the way that I want while still feeling fun. This extends to getting the KT4, upgrading it, and getting the Skull of Non-Stopway. All the steps to those take a lot of time, upgrading the KT4 taking the longest. Okay, I will say that it's pretty weird that you have to complete every single challenge on the like challenge podium just to get to just to get the lightning to spawn. Uh, I am 99% a solo player, so it's honestly fine for me, but the fact that if you have more people, that means the more challenges you need to do, so it makes it even more annoying and tedious with more players. I do think that it would be cool if like only one person needed to complete all their challenges, but again, since I am pretty much a solo player, only doing 3 challenges isn't that bad. And to me, it actually adds to what I need to do throughout the rounds. And I think that's what I really like about Zetsubou. I'm always doing something throughout the rounds, and it's always like something kind of different. Well, I do like Black Ops 7 Zombies. I've put 280 plus hours into it. I also haven't played a COD game at all since Cold War. I did play Cold War, but I didn't buy any COD game in between that and Black Ops 7. And in Cold War and Black Ops 7, and from what I've seen, also like Black Ops 6 as well, the overall progression is exactly the same in both games. You level up your gun with like salvage or ether tools, and then you pack a punch your gun like 3 times. Sure, Black Ops 7 has a lot better systems, and I mean, I wouldn't put 280 hours into them to that game if I didn't think it was a pretty good game. But the base progression is exactly the same as it is in Cold War. And no matter what map you're playing, the progression is ultimately the same for each map. It does take a long time, which is something that I do like about Zetsubou, but it's not that challenging, and it's exactly the same thing every step of the way. You're just building up salvage and points, and each step is the same. Level up your gun and pack a punch it. With Zetsubou, every step you do or pretty much every step you do is unique, and even if it does take a couple rounds, the next step is completely different. Well, I do ultimately prefer older zombies. On many maps, it's pretty easy or at least simple for me to get like set up. And on some maps like Dertoten, I do get set up by round 12. With Zetsu, because of everything there is, I'm not usually fully set up until like round 15 to 20, and I love that. It's the only map that makes me feel the same way I did when I started playing zombies. And I just love that there's a map that does that in a way that I like. And also another thing, like with Black Ops 7 Zombies, is there isn't any map, because the progression is the same on every single map. That means to get fully set up, you always have to take a long time to play, and you get to round 30 to 40 every single game or something. Whereas, like, yeah, I do like Zetsubou for being like, long and challenging. I don't, I don't like to play it all the time as well, and I do like when there's like a map like I do like playing like Keynote or Toten or like Town sometimes. Like I don't like having it when like that like long progression is my only option. And again, since it's a long progression that is tedious and the same every single time, it's like it just doesn't feel as good. And again, that's why I really like Zetsubou, because it's very unique in how long its progression is, and since it comes from like classic zombies where there is more simple maps that have setups that do take a shorter amount of time, that just makes it feel like more unique. Now, on the other hand, the Easter egg is really easy. Now, it does make sense why most people don't like that, because it makes sense for the Easter egg to be this big challenge because That's it's like the sort of like story kind of. The thing is, I am not really a big Easter egg person. I'm not even a huge high rounder either. I just like playing casually. And the fact that the Easter egg in Zetsubou no Shima is as easy as it is means that I actually go for it every single game. The Easter egg is basically just getting 3 cogs for the elevator. First one you get by using the lightning shield on the zip line, then pressing melee to drop down, which I do want to say this. You can do that from the bottom and it's way easier. Most guides show it like from the top for some reason, but if you do it from the bottom, you can just press the melee button as soon as you start moving on the zip line and you'll always drop down safely. Second cog you get by using anywhere but here, the anywhere but here gobblegum to teleport on the top of the lab A. Of course, after using the forgot this, but after using the skull of non for every single step, you have to use the skull of non-sapway for to reveal this piece of paper showing the lower levels of the bunker and also opening up this like behind the elevator and like looking at the machine. And once you do that, you can do like the previous step I just said, and then the like teleport to that like dragon lab area with the gobblegum. Um, and I mean, sure, it sucks that you need to use a gobblegum slot for this Easter egg, but A, at least it's a common gobblegum that's infinite and everyone has, and B, I usually have it on anyway because I don't usually use mega gums that much, so for me, it's not the biggest deal, but it still is a little weird. And then the third cog you get by upgrading the KT4 to the Masamune, which pretty much is half of that step. But again, I don't count that as the Easter egg because that's what I count as the setup. But once you have the Masamune, you then grow reward plants with the blue water, and then shoot them with the Masamune, like shoot the like ground right beneath them each time you water them. And then so when you do that, when they like fully grow, they will have these little spots on them. And you can do that normally and they give you better rewards. Um, but for the Easter egg, you have to do that for the Easter egg because then you can maybe get the giant bullet and put that in the cannon in the bunker. And then what you got to do is you just got to wait for the plane to fly into the right spot and then shoot it down. And that makes the gear fall into one of like 3 locations. After that, you take the gear to the elevator, and then you can do the boss fight. I know that those are probably the simplest steps ever for like a main Easter egg, especially in like this Black Ops, like the more modern era of Easter eggs where they're taking them more seriously. But the fact that they're so simple and pretty easy to do is what makes me do it every time. Considering what I consider to be the setup, by the time I'm fully set up, I can basically already do the whole Easter egg. Now, the boss fight is admittedly not the most interesting fight. You really just shoot the boss 4 times to kill it, and in between each time, you gotta survive waves of thrashers. It's better to think of it more like the last arena slash puzzle fight instead of a true boss. However, I will say that this fight is more challenging than it seems. Thrashers are more dangerous than they first appear, and I've been humbled quite a few times in this fight. Hell, on the playthrough I recorded for this video, I went down in the fight and had to survive the rest of it with no perks at all. God, the KT4's reload is so slow without speed cola. But I actually was able to do it, and that was awesome. But I still just really like how easy it is since it just makes the map play very unique for me. Like I said, I don't go for Easter eggs with other maps. I only played the other Black Ops 3 Easter eggs one time on PS4 to get the super Easter egg, and I've only also done the Darius and Draha Easter egg on PC and the Giant, but that like almost doesn't count because that actually is the simplest Easter egg ever. Like, yeah. Uh, Zetsubou is the only map I do the Easter egg on every single time, and that makes the map feel special to me. And the last thing I want to talk about is the story of Zetsubou. And in honor of Tom Kane, how the story affects Takeo as a character. Zetsubou's ending cutscene is so good. Because of this map, Takeo is kind of like the only character from both Primus and Ultimus to have true character development. Sure, the other cutscenes are really good, but neither Richtofen, Dempsey, or Nikolai change as characters throughout their own stories. In Nikolai's case, it's actually Ultimus Nikolai that changes a bit, having to come to terms with the fact that the wife that he loved died, and all those 8 other wives were just made up as a vodka-fueled coping mechanism. But Primus Nikolai already knew that. Plus, people already liked Nikolai as a character, whereas Takeo was always the least favorite character. This to me is what made Takeo a good character. Sure, Origin's intro cutscene making him swoop down in with a katana and fucking slice a zombie in half as his first introduction, that was badass. But Zetsubou is the map that actually gave him character depth. And he needed it the most. He had to realize that his purpose of serving the Emperor was wrong, and learning that the Emperor he held so dear was the very one to put his other self through so much torture. He realized that he was wrong to look up to the Emperor, and now he has to live for himself and his brothers in arms instead. This also actually changes Richtofen, because if you remember, there's this quote where Richtofen said that he didn't consider saving his, the rest of Primus until he saw what Takeo went through. And so yeah, I guess Richtofen does change as a character too, but it's because of Takeo's change that affects him. And so, you know, Zetsubou is really important for not just like Takeo, but for Primus as a whole. But yeah, this made Primus Takeo into one of my favorite COD Zombies characters. He went through something that genuinely changed him and made his whole world spin on his head, and made him so much more interesting than he was before. Oh, and this map also has like one of my favorite quotes.
You are proving to be a nuisance.
I don't know why, but just the way he says nuisance with such deep vitriol and hatred is just so funny to me. Like, fuck this guy in particular. And that's why I love Zetsubou no Shima so much. It's an esoteric map for sure, but it's also very fun, especially to me. It's like the map was almost perfectly made for me. I love how long the setup takes, since it means the early game is interesting and engaging. I like how short the Easter egg is, because I'm not someone who does Easter eggs like almost at all, and so this means I actually do the Easter egg and do it pretty much every time. And I love how it gave such great characterization to Takeo Masaki, giving him the most amount of character development for all the older zombie characters. I hope I've been able to get you guys to understand why I love this map so much, and maybe even convince a couple of you to give the map another try. Anyway, if you like the video, then please leave a like, leave a comment. Actually, leave a comment if there's an underrated map that you really love, like how I love Zetsubou, and tell me why you love it. And of course, if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe. This is my first like real YouTube video now that I'm like trying to be an actual YouTuber instead of just uploading a couple random things here and there. So yeah, I really appreciate the support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.